Hi guys, it's Dionne Smith here, Cantu's natural hair education expert. Today I'm going to be sharing with you 10 useful things you should know on protective styling. So tip 1, I would recommend that you never wear your hair longer than 8 weeks. Because sometimes when you wear the hair longer than 8 weeks, the hair starts to get matted underneath and it becomes a problem when you're ready to take it out. Tip 2, I would recommend oiling the scalp every 3 to 4 days. Depending on how your scalp is, but that would be the recommended time. This is an amazing product for oiling scalp while you have braids in, crochet in. It has a nozzle at the end and it's easy to get into the scalp, especially if you're wearing weaves as well. You can get into the cameras really well. This would be one of my recommended products for oiling the scalp. Every 3 to 4 days, but again, depending on how the scalp is, if you're finding that you're oiling your scalp 3 to 4 days and you get to your next 3 to 4 day period and you feel that the scalp was okay, then you can push it out a little bit more. But every 3 to 4 days is normally the recommended time. And then for tip 3, it's important to remember to gently shampoo your scalp without disrupting the hair and allowing the shampoo to run down the lengths of the hair. And this way it helps to maintain the style for longer. Tip 4, a great way to keep your braids looking nice and healthy and shiny is to oil or spray your shine spray on your braids just before bed and cover with a silk or satin bonnet. That way it allows the product to work through the hair overnight and without weighing the braids down, and it will look nice and fresh and shiny in the morning. Tip 5, if you're somebody that prefers to lay your edges, I would recommend my favorite brush. I know you guys have seen me talk about this brush over and over again, but it really is like the best brush. I would recommend using a brush like this and some edge control, using a little bit of product on the brush and then just smoothing your edges down on a daily basis. I do recommend, however, to release your edges at night and then cover it with a silk or satin scarf, just so that it gets that break in between. Tip 6, if you're a braid wearer, a great way to maintain your braids and keep them neat and tidy is to use a mousse. This would be my recommended mousse product. So all you do is you pump a few pumps into your hand and then you just spread it down the mid-lengths and ends of your braids. It's best to do it before night, and then what you would do is you would put on a silk or satin bonnet. Cantu have an amazing one, it's really long, you can see. So if you've got like really extra long braids, you can see you can get all of your braids in there quite easily. You do that before bed and then you should wake up and your braids will be neat and tidy. Another tip to keep your braids nice and neat and tidy is to use a straightener. You can actually take your braids individually, get the straightener and just run it down the braids without pressing too hard. Just run the straighteners down each individual braid and it will seal the braids together again. Tip 7, when releasing your braids or any protective style, it's always recommended that you use a product that's going to help to prevent breakage. In this instance, I would recommend the Coil Calm Detangler. It's a really great product for detangling. Spray it onto the hair once you've released it, comb it through with a comb, and then you can go in with your shampooing process afterwards. Another tip, it's always good to remember that once you release your protective style, that you want to try and replenish the hair. So I would recommend using the deep treatment mask. Again, it's used like any other mask. So after your shampooing process, you would go in, make sure that the hair is fully saturated, comb it through. You can even add a little bit of heat if you want to intensify, and then you rinse it off and you move on to the next stage. Another thing to remember, guys, is when you're taking out your protective styles is to try and alternate your part-ins. Also try and alternate the directions that your braids are going in, because you don't want your hair pulling in the same direction constantly. That could lead to breakage. So just try and alternate, keep switching it up, and that will lead to healthy hair. And last but not least, always remember to take breaks. Take breaks in between any protective style. Give your hair a good old treatment, give it like 4 to 5 days, maybe even up to a week, but it's really good to take regular breaks in between protective styles. And that's me for now. I hope you've learned something. Let me know in the comments below and I'll see you in the next video.